I'm Tim, welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Datejust 116234. You can see this stainless steel and 18 karat white gold Rolex with blue Jubilee dial and purchase it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch with additional accessories included in the sale, high resolution images for your desktop, and naturally complete pricing details for this Rolex Oyster Perpetual Datejust. Now on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that this watch features both the modern solid link Super Jubilee bracelet and Rolex's distinctive richly textured blue Jubilee motif dial under stylized and hand-applied white gold Roman numerals with fluted white gold bezel. It's a distinctive watch. If your objection to Rolex has always been, well, everyone has one, this is an example, an outstanding example of a classical Rolex model that no one else in the office is going to have. Now, 36 millimeters across the round of the case, that's not inclusive of the crown. It is a slim watch, 11.5 millimeters thick. You can see how the slope of the bezel and the sapphire means this will easily slide underneath any formal dress cuff or tight sleeve. From lug to lug, not inclusive of the bracelet, you'll measure this watch 44 millimeters. Now if you measure, this is the Super Jubilee, so the end links are solid. If you measure to the outermost extremity side to side, you get a more modern, but still quite compact 45.5 millimeter horizontal measurement across the wrist. So this watch will wear well in my estimation on a wrist size as small as 13.5 centimeters in circumference, although with the combination of the white gold, the fluted bezel, that spectacular dial, and the Super Jubilee 5-link, this watch can also hold its own against a huge wrist. Believe me, traditional size does not mean petite. Now the watch is very comfortable on the wrist, and that's a long-standing trademark of the Jubilee bracelet. The more supple of Rolex's two principal bracelets, the 3-link Oyster being the other, the 5-link Jubilee has very small individual links, so it feels very silken on the skin, extremely flexible. It's more comfortable even than a light leather. Superbly finished on the top, the finish on the bottom is functional, straight grained but with broad channels between the links so it won't pinch skin or pull hair. It also has abundant passages to aerate the wrist on a hot day. This is a 100-meter water-resistant watch after all, so heat, moisture, sweat, grit, and oil can easily escape the wrist during periods of intense activity when you take the watch in the water or wear it during the summer. You'll note contrasting finish atop the Jubilee bracelet, satin outer links polished down the center, and the absolute shoulders all to a high polish, beautifully executed. It's paired with a very robust inner clasp. It feels quite solid, as though hewn from a single ingot of steel, and closes with a tremendous snick, opens with a snap. The tolerances are excellent, condition is superb. You'll note that the crown clasp right here, like the Rolex President bracelet, very discreet, the only sign of the partition point between the two halves of the bracelet. Now the watch is spectacular. All of high polish with a beautiful sensuous case flank. I always like to say that the compound curves of the flank of a modern Rolex 36 millimeter case are one of the unadvertised aesthetic advantages of buying contemporary Rolex. There's an elegance here befitting a dress watch and a beautiful luster and a gleam, and Rolex's 904L proprietary steel alloy does a better job of holding both a satin finish and a polished finish, and this watch includes both on its various components. Now the bezel, of course, fluted, is your cue that this is precious metal. White gold in this case, it's also Rolex's own alloy, being homogeneous, or what's known as gray gold in the industry. Even if it's scratched or dented, it's not going to show a different color through. It's not plated, it's not rhodium plated, it's not nickel plated. Again, homogeneous. If you scratch it, there's just more white gold underneath. Now the dial does require some explaining. This repeating motif, richly textured, is known as the Jubilee dial. It's incredibly dynamic, nuanced, and almost like the petite tapisserie on a traditional Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. It has a very, very fine repetitive texture across its surfaces that is indicative of just how detailed the manufacturing process is, and galvanizing this dial blue is exceptionally difficult. This is a blue rarely used by any watch brand, including Rolex. It's simply difficult to produce blue galvanized dials. They have a high rejection rate, so the watch is all the more special. Moreover, blue is one of the colors of the moment. Blue is in right now, and you'll see it throughout all the trade shows, 2015, 16, and 17, SIHH and Baselworld. The color is now everywhere, and when paired with a white metal, which is in favor for our times, it is an exceptionally chic look that wears well on a man or a woman and in any attire. Here, it's accentuated by the stylized, polished white gold applied Roman numerals, making this a very easy watch to read thanks to the contrast, and of course the signature Cyclops eye present and correct to read the date. A minimum of text. This is actually quite a relief and a bit of an irony given the repeating motif underneath, but whereas many modern Rolex dials are overprinted, here we see only Rolex and the model name. Now, a screw-down crown, as I mentioned, a 100-meter water-resistant watch. Underneath the caseback is a Rolex caliber 3135 manufacture movement, 31 jewels, bidirectional winding, 45 to 48-hour power reserve. It has a full balance bridge anchored on both sides with a free-sprung index and micro-stella adjustment nuts for the balance. So it can take a very precise chronometer grade regulation. It is a chronometer, and it can hold it in the face of bumps, vibrations, and disruptions on the wrist. That's the advantage of a full bridge with a free-sprung index. It also has a parachrom Rolex handmade Breguet alloy hairspring. Now, the Breguet hairspring architecture helps to center the mass of the hairspring so it beats concentrically, countering the effects of gravity in different positions. You've heard the chronometers are adjusted in different positions and timed in different positions. Well, the hairspring architecture Breguet overcoil is one of the reasons the watch meets those specifications in those positions. Now, the watch is beautifully made, beautifully finished, and in outstanding condition. If you love the Rolex Datejust model, or if you love Rolex generally, but you don't want a generic Rolex, this distinctive blue Jubilee dial, Rolex Datejust in steel and white gold, is just the ticket.